Austin?
Fuck you, Johnny. Fuck you. Fuck the Xbox. Fuck video games. Just fuck. Fuck it.
Why me first?
Because you are in the way. Everyone must pay.
Oh, I see. I'm just nearby.
You are collateral damage. I apologize.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being collateral damage.
I've been furious all day. I went through all the stages of grief. I was angry. I was sad. I bargained, and then I went back around. It's just a cycle. I'm angry again.
So you had to start over again?
Yes.
Did you finish the first time? Because you're supposed to get to acceptance. I think.
No, I did. I made peace with it. I sat here. I was just staring into space. And I was like, it's just not for me. Okay, it's okay. It's fine. Not everything has to be for me. I can accept that. And then like 10 minutes later, I was like, no, fuck them. I will kill their families.
Perhaps the problem is that you're viewing each aspect of the Xbox as being something that needs to be grieved over, rather than grieving over it as a whole. So, like, maybe first of all you're like, oh, God, their games library, and then you're grieving about that for a little while, and then you're like, oh, not backwards compatible, and you grieve about that for a little while. And then you're like, has to be connected to the internet once a day, oh, God, and then you grieve over that. I'm going to suggest something to you, that what you do is take everything in life, life itself even, as a matter of fact, and just grieve over all of that. Just lump it all into one place, the sad place, and then, deal with it all at once.
Maybe I would have been more willing to process all of my emotions at one point if they had given all the information all at once. They spent half an hour. Okay, you know what? I can't.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it on the
We
cast.
will.
Don't worry.
But if they didn't even say half the shit at the conference. Most of it we're finding out, like, hours later, one piece after another. So I keep getting re-angry. Because they didn't talk about any of the stuff I wanted to know. All they said is, guys, football, right?
Well, this is one of the interesting things about it. I think that judging from the reading, I didn't get to see any of the conference, but I've read, pretty much all of the synopses. And it occurs to me that they are so far out of touch that they don't even know what people want to hear. Like we can just let's think about all the shit that's got kicked up over the internet, on the internet over like the past 2 or 3 months or something. And was any single one of them about not being able to watch Star Trek and Skype with your buddies at the same time? Was anybody like, holy shit, if the Microsoft Teabag Express doesn't allow me to fucking watch my football and Skype with my bros at the same time, I'm like so done with this shit. So people are all like, will it have used games? Like, will it be always online? Will it be backwards compatible? And Microsoft is like, hey guys, do you think maybe we should say something about this? And someone's like, nah, they don't care about that shit. They want to know about the new Kinect.
Honestly, this is what I was expecting. Like, part of me was hoping, they would take advantage of it. Would take advantage of some of the slip-ups Sony and Nintendo made, and, they'd come out like they'd announce a price, they would get all the momentum on their side. But this was really what I was expecting. I mean, every single press conference they do, it's always just, hey, we all know what you want. You want something that you can play cable with. You want Price is Right with Drew Carey. Oh, yeah.
No, they might as well just came out and just said, Netflix, Skype, Madden, Call of Duty, and drop the mic.
They may as well have Call of Duty, which would have gotten announced anyway.
Call of Duty's been announced. We've known about that game for months. That's not news. It's not even exclusive, you dumb fucks.
Like, okay, here's what I'm thinking. Is it just me, or has Microsoft become Sony from the last generation, like at the very start?
A little bit. I have to wait to see the price point, because what I'm thinking is they're going to try to sneak it in a low MSRP and then have they're going to jack up the price of live.
Well, aren't they pricing 2 of them? Isn't there going to be one that's cheaper if you sign on to a live subscription for like a year?
They didn't confirm that, no.
Yeah, the rumor is that 2 years, but you had to pay $15 a month.
Well, time could tell. Perhaps, they're just, what they might just be doing? They might just be waiting for, like, the other guys to price their systems. Nobody wants to be the first one out of the gate, because they don't want to be like, oh, shit, we need to beat that.
I have a feeling that the PS4 will be $400 and the Xbox, whatever the fuck, will be $330 a month. And people won't fucking read the fine print and spend way more because they're idiots. It's the iPhone trap. You morons pay, what, thousands of dollars a year?
I wouldn't know. I don't have an iPhone.
How much is an iPhone per month? It's like $100, right? On top of like the $300 you already pay for the phone. So you're paying like $1,500 a year for your phone. That's ludicrous.
At least we can definitively say that we have a clear reason why now Microsoft decided to hold their conference way before E3, because they didn't want to be compared to anybody, obviously. Now nobody can say that Microsoft lost E3.
That's what they're saying, is that, the reason we didn't bring any games is because we're going to bring them all to E3. And it's like, you could have brought a couple games, guys. Like, a couple? Probably. I'm not asking you all of them.
Probably could have brought a couple of games. I mean, considering that they're advertising a games system.
Well, it's not, though. It's a cable box that is also for Madden and Call of Duty.
Right.
Taylor just sent me a message on Twitter. He wants us to wait for him.
I can wait for Taylor.
I just want to start punching things.
That won't make things better, except if what you're thinking of punching needs to be punched. That would make it better. But by and large, punching things will just make your hand worse. And then
best comment, R.I.P. Xbox 2001 to 2013.
I'm going to save the serious discussion for the actual podcast, so that we have proper segues and, like, freaking out, people going crazy, bedlam in the streets, pure mania. So,
thousands of things are happening at once.
Tell me about the actual presentation itself. I'm curious about the actual presentation. I mean, despite the fact that the information that came out of the presentation was lackluster.
Okay, here's how. First of all, they opened the show. They said, Xbox One. We laughed. It was dumb. That's a terrible name. Then there was half an hour of all they talked about was like that you can watch TV and movies on your console as if this is a new thing, and that he was like super psyched about it. One of the quotes was, "Guys, this is rocket science" or something. Like he actually used the words rocket science to describe what was going on.
It's really not rocket science.
And I
know a rocket scientist. Like, personally, I do. I actually know, like this guy went to school for, like, rocketry propulsion systems. He's a fucking rocket scientist.
Like a real one?
Like a real rocket scientist. And, like, he's always being like, this is not rocket science. And we're all like, yeah, Adam, we know. We know this is not rocket science. But thank you for stepping in and clarifying any confusion that ordering Chinese food is not rocket science.
And here's the thing, right? He was controlling everything with the voice and gesture. So he's just like, Xbox on, Xbox, Star Trek, and then Star Trek popped up, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I don't know if you saw this, but people who were watching this on their Xboxes with Kinect, when he was saying that, it kept turning their Xboxes off because his voice was coming through the speakers and commanding their Kinects to do stuff.
That is fantastic.
So, yeah, the fucking voice commands are terrible anyway. But it was clearly obvious that the things he was doing, the gestures and words he was using, weren't actually controlling shit. It was someone in a booth fucking doing it.
Of course it is.
There was no gameplay.
Are you fucking surprised? I mean, every single time any company runs around with a giant, like, press conference, the actual gameplay, the actual, like, somebody who's standing on stage fucking doing something, is like 1 in 10. And the fascinating thing about it is when that fucking 10% happens, the audience goes, "Whoa, holy shit, that's amazing." Think about the Watch Dogs presentation at Sony's.
Yeah, Ubisoft fucking killed it.
Yeah. Because they just showed up and they were like, "Hey, watch this."
Hey guys, want to see some fucking gameplay? Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Like from a video game.
And then, but you just fucking know that they're like, well, ever since, I think it was Windows 98, there was the first public demonstration of Windows 98 that happened. It fucking blue screened in front of everybody.
Yeah, I remember that.
You just know that after that, Microsoft was like, okay, let's talk presentation etiquette.
So one of the big things besides the gestures and voice was that you could have it do two things, right? That you could watch Star Trek and talk to your friend on Skype at the same time. First of all, what kind of ADHD society are we in that you need to do all these things simultaneously, all right?
If I'm fucking watching Star Trek, I don't want to talk to you. Shut up. I'm watching Star Trek.
And if I really need to talk to my friend, I'm going to pause it. Like, they were doing it simultaneously. Like, Star Trek's in one window, it's going, and the Skype call is happening in the other. That's both really rude and impossible to pay attention to the movie. Why, if you're not going to watch the movie, why have it on? There's a reason there's a pause button. Those things are not meant to be simultaneous. Yep. That's not a feature. That's sensory overload. The human brain is not meant to have these different stimuli going simultaneously. It's ridiculous. And why do we already have phones, people? It's the whole thing is just so dumb.
Yeah,
but
don't you know the Xbox One is going to replace the phone? You can dial it with the Kinect.
The Kinect can suck my dick.
And you're going to be able to order Pizza Hut with it. I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, the Kinect is absolutely mandatory.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to announce this to you, Austin. I don't know if anybody's told you, but the Kinect cannot, in fact, suck your dick.
If it did, maybe I'd be a little more excited.
I would be too. I'd be like, wait a minute. There's something to this Xbox One.
Yeah, it's not that it comes with the Xbox One.
It's in it. It's an integral part of it.
Yeah, it has to be plugged in or it will not work. Is the word on the street here. So yeah, you're fucking stuck with it, and it never turns off. It always, like, the way that they're talking about it. If it's plugged in to the wall, even if it's off, it's still listening to your house, and connected to the internet.
That's creepy.
Like, they can remotely just listen to your everyday life at all times.
I wonder if they're gonna have hacking problems.
Yeah, privacy is a super big concern because people can remotely turn your shit on and off, and it's all voice. It has like microphones. It's listening for voice commands even when it's off. So there's that, which is dumb. But here's the thing: half an hour of that, and then they're like, "Here, you guys, ready for some fucking games?" And then EA Sports comes out and goes, "Madden, FIFA, basketball, fighting, or UFC," which are all already confirmed games. With those four, not announcements, not exclusive, and not announcements. And then he left, and then another Microsoft guy came out and said, Forza 5. That is a legitimate...
I wonder if maybe Electronic Arts paid money to be the first guys to walk out on the stage?
I imagine, yeah. Well, that's the thing. You remember, very publicly, they just shit all over Nintendo and the Wii U, right?
Yeah.
So I have to feel like there's some kind of deals going on there. And maybe not, like, I'm not saying they paid them to disparage them, but when they realized that they're hitching their wagon there, that they might as well fuck off.
Yeah. Well, it seems as though there's some online control is in line. The respective philosophies of Electronic Arts and Microsoft and their online control ideas.
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone wants to be Apple, and everyone wants to be...
Fuck Apple!
Everyone wants to be AAA big boys at all times. And here's another thing. No indie games, not a single indie game in this entire presentation. And actually, Joystick published a feature where they actually interviewed a bunch of indie people about the presentation, and all of them said that they weren't contacted. There's nothing in place for them. They obviously aren't wanted. Xbox One is for TV, it's for movies, it's for Madden, it's for Grand Theft Auto, it's for Halo, it's for Call of Duty, it's for Forza.
No, know that there's gonna be like an Xbox Live Indie Arcade. They've already got the infrastructure set up. They have it in there, but
I'm not saying they're cutting it out.
They're gonna screw the indies just like they did this generation.
Yeah, I'm not saying that these things are being excised. I'm saying they just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Where Sony is actively courting indies right now. They're all up in that shit.
Yeah, you're right.
They are losing money to give indies spotlights and funding. There's that what's that thing called? The Sony Pub Fund thing?
Yeah.
They are bending over backwards to have this content there. Even if it doesn't make the money, it's the point that it brings added value to their platform, which is something that Microsoft does not seem to understand. So Forza, that's an actual announcement, although we knew it was coming, obviously. It technically wasn't, confirmed. Then Remedy Entertainment came out, and they have a new thing. I don't know if you saw the trailer for that. It was fucking live action, and then the gameplay looked like shit.
Steve talk about it was like Defiance meets Beyond Two Souls, whatever.
It looked David Cagey.
It looks to me like it's Singularity meets Omicron the Nomad Soul meets possibly my ball sack. But that depends. That depends on whether or not you catch me on a particularly sweaty day.
Here's the thing. They said 15 exclusives, 8 new IPs. We'll tell you about that some other day. Like, that's all they said, and then they left. I mean, here's what I thought. When they said that number, I said, that's pretty good. 15 exclusives. That's solid. And I thought about it. It's like, well, Kinect Sports, Kinectimals, Kinect something else.
Halo.
Like 4 of those are going to be Kinect. Then you got, Forza, Halo, maybe a Fable, Gears. Just the usual suspects are going to fill up half that list.
Yeah.
So not quite as exciting as it sounded at first. And one of those new IPs is already kind of that underwhelming Remedy thing. So, we'll see. I'm holding out hope for a new Mistwalker game, but I assume that they're probably, like Yusuf was telling me, they're probably all just going to be like indie games. Like they're padding their exclusive numbers probably with indie stuff, which is apparently something I did with the 360. Then what? I'm trying to think. God, it all just blurs together because there was like nothing like of
what
of
part
substance.
did they hold you down and spit in your mouth?
There was one point it was just dragging on. Like the guy was just going on and on. He's just saying things like innovation, visceral, polygons, emotions, and Phil Fish tweeted in all caps, "Oh my God, no one fucking cares."
Yeah.
Did it have one of those awkward? Because I love the awkward bits. That one moment where the guy says something and he can't really be like, "Oh my God, this script is terrible." He's got to he has to force it with his face.
Yeah, actually, that was the EA Sports guy. He was like, "Yeah, I got LeBron on my fantasy team. Oh yeah." I remember he said, he was like, yeah, "That's how he rolls." I don't know. He said something really fucking stupid, and I was like, "Oh God, no one gives two fucks."
Those are my favorite parts. Those parts.
But then they were like, "Oh shit, we're gonna bring down the house, Call of Duty," which you already knew existed. That's non-exclusive, guys. First of all, and then the big reveal was that it's gonna have a playable dog character. Which, that's cool, I guess. It will probably have more humanity than anyone else in Call of Duty history. And that's saying someone who likes Call of Duty, like...
Well, don't you understand, Austin, that the dog demographic is really underrepresented in video games?
I can't do this at any of you. I can't. I'm like flipping out right now. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Then it just ended abruptly. Like half people didn't even know it was over. Like they just cut it off.
Well, let us be honest here. When was the last time that you saw, like, a publicity presentation, a press presentation like that you were like, wow, that was very fulfilling in all of the ways that I had hoped it would be?
I thought Ubisoft killed it, man.
Yeah, but that was just like one... That was
it was pretty solid the whole way through. There was like Far Cry, and then they brought I'm trying to remember, there was another game. Oh, Assassin's Creed. Like those are some big stuff, and they showed like new footage of it, and then Watch Dogs. So like I felt like the whole way through.
Wasn't that the one that
the Aisha Tyler one?
Yeah, is that the Aisha Tyler one with Tobuscus, Toby Turner?
It might have been. They all run together.
I think it was. I think that was it. And they didn't do very well at all.
Oh, I forgot the one thing was that George Lucas is making a Halo TV show, so...
George Lucas? I thought it was Steven Spielberg.
Oh, what'd I say? Yeah, that fucking guy. They all look the same to me. White people are fucking interchangeable.
Rich, white, old guys with fatherly beards. Son, come here and sit down on my knee, and I'll tell you the story of an epic grand tale from the days of my youth. It's called Halo, and it's about a guy named Master Chief. Yes, that's right. His name is Master Chief. He shot a bunch of aliens. The end. Is there going to be drama? Can you add drama to Halo?
Halo it's fun or whatever because you shoot and stuff, but it's not. People act like the lore is so interesting. It's really not.
I remember hearing at one point in time some guy, or not hearing, but I read on the internet. On that internet, oh man, I'm trying to remember what it was. It was a guy, he was just railing on a science fiction game or something like that. And he was like, "Oh, it just rips off Halo." And I was like, "I'm sorry, you're accusing something of ripping Halo off?"
Yeah, maybe the novels are like super transcendently good, and I'm missing out. But the games themselves are good aliens and bad aliens.
It's pretty derivative.
It's not even that it's derivative. I wish it was derivative.
It is derivative. It's well derivative of at least the Warhammer 40K universe in some ways.
Because there's religious aliens and the aliens who fight the religious aliens. That's not even derivative. That's anything. I feel like that's giving him too much credit to say they bothered ripping someone off. They just they got good aliens and bad aliens, and they fight. And they give people religious names. There's the Covenant and the priests and stuff. That's not adding depth.
No, I'm not suggesting that's depth.
That's just that's theme naming. That's like saying Captain Planet is super deep because they're named after the elements. Like, I can't.
I get the impression that I'm probably going to need more wine.
Oh, I am not nearly high enough to do this right now.
I'm curious, Gabe, how do you pronounce your last name? Because I don't want to introduce you as, like, Gabriel Bono when you're like Gabriel Bono.
Bono.
Can we call you Boner? I'm calling you Boner, whether you like it or not. You're Boner now.
That's copyrighted.
Who owns the copyright on Boner?
I might have done some other writing back in the day. I'm not particularly proud of. Pseudonym, copyrighted. Might have involved a donkey. I don't know.
Speaking of Disturbed, this might be the time to bring it up. I don't know if we'll get a chance. Gabe, you need to tell Johnny about that fucking thing you showed me this morning.
Oh, Sia's song?
Yeah, what the fuck, dude? You can't just bring that on fucking people.
Oh, come on. It's a pretty famous visual novel.
The name looked familiar, but I had never looked into it. I did not know when I clicked that link what I was getting myself into. How could you do that to me? Explain it to Johnny.
It's just about a guy who gets in a car accident, and they do an experimental brain procedure on him, so normal enough, and the brain procedure just makes him have a horrible case of what's that phrase when one sense replaces the other?
Synesthesia.
Thank you.
And it's not replacement, it's just an association. Okay,
well, in this case, he now feels everything is dead flesh. He sees everything is dead flesh, and all of his best friends now look like horrible monsters, except for one young little girl who he feels like he has to protect from this world that's become horrible. And
Johnny.
Yeah?
Spoilers?
Uh-huh.
Spoilers? You fucked the little girl. Spoilers. Your silence is pleasing to me.
How little?
Anime little? You know that ambiguous, anywhere from 10 to 20? So, continue, Gabe. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just wanted to give him a little sense because I feel like you weren't getting to the meat of it quick enough.
Oh, that's what's disturbed you? I mean, there's...
No, there's more. I wanted to throw that at him.
Oh, okay.
Gabe's like, pedophilia is only the tip of the iceberg, Austin.
Oh, gosh. Well, I mean, technically it's not even pedophilia once you know what the twist is, but...
I don't want to actually spoil the whole thing. Not for Johnny, but for the sick fucks who are no doubt going to look this up after hearing this.
Okay, well, in any case, pretty much, though he feels like he has to protect her, like I said, he sees all his friends as monsters, so pretty much you pretty much play, it's a villain protagonist story, and pretty much he starts he starts planning who he has to kill, and the little girl's all down with telling him who he has to kill. And it's by the same guy who ended up writing and directing Madoka Magica.
That means very little to me.
Oh, you should really watch SF Debris' review on that. It's an interesting. That was a deconstruction of the magical girl genre.
All right.
I think that's where I heard about this, or like where I heard the name in passing, is someone was talking about that thing he wrote later that's really good. It was like, can you believe it's from the guy who did that thing about fucking little girls and everything is made out of meat? That one.
Could you imagine having a body of work that people like only recognize as being, yeah, you wrote that thing about that, where everything is made out of meat?
Oh, also, I just looked it up, Gabe. The word you weren't thinking of synesthesia. You were thinking of agnosia. I'm looking this up now. It's not that like his senses become like related. It's that the way it is like he sees everything. It's like he gets reverse H.P. Lovecraft vision. Everything normal looks fucked up in Eldritch, and everything Eldritch looks normal. Mm. So everything's like gross and basically organs and flesh, and it's disgusting. And then there's the one normal girl. And I think is that ruining it? I feel like
it's. I mean, we're getting to a certain point in time here. I'm thinking I'm seeing what's going on.
Okay, like I see you just send you some screenshots, but it's basically just everything is covered in gore.
All right.
And anyway, so how this came about was Gabe was like, oh, did you guys hear that shit's out in English? And I was like, I'd never heard of that. I'm going to look it up. And then I'm like, oh, God, the FBI is going to seize my computer.
So is nobody going to explain, like, the ultimate twist to me here?
Well, it's pretty obvious.
I assume it is. I was just kind of curious if...
She's normal because she is actually a giant, horrible monster from another dimension.
Right.
And you fuck it. I just Google searched it. Like, here's a screenshot. I just put it in the thing, right?
Okay.
So, which part of that screenshot is sexy to you? Because that says a lot about your life.
I guess the pillars are kind of phallic.
See, this is what this Xbox thing has driven me to. I'm much more interested in talking about the game where you bone Cthulhu.
Well, just wait for the dating game where SCP-173 and SCP-685 can date each other.
See, I hear you saying words, but my mind refuses to acknowledge any of them. I leave that stuff to you.
It's like resident perverts.
No, you should. I bet Taylor. No, damn it. I would say Taylor would totally be into this because he's a disgusting pervert. But no, he's like really squeamish. He's really squeamish about like blood and scary things. This would confuse the shit out of Taylor's boner. Is what I'm trying to say.
Gosh.
He'd be like 13-year-old Japanese girl all over that. Why is everything bleeding?
Oh. Okay.
Now that I think about it, I feel like Taylor's 13-year-old girl fetish, it would involve a lot of bleeding either way.
I wasn't going to go there. That association popped up for me, but
Let's just totally act normal if he shows up. Like we didn't just talk about him being a disgusting pervert.
That'd probably be best for all of us.
I'm gonna leave it in. I don't give a shit. I have no morals left. I have no humanity left. The Xbox One has broken me.
That's what broke you? That's it? Jesus Christ, Austin, if I had known that had broken you, like, years ago, I would have pitched a system to you.
I'm slowly descending into madness. Send help.
What do you mean, slowly? Austin, we've been doing this podcast for over a year now. You're already there.
Well, you would think if it wasn't going slowly, I would be there by now, but I feel like I'm still descending. So either I had a really huge excess and surplus of sanity, or there's, like, negative sanity.
No. What you need to understand is that you can always go deeper. It never stops. There's never an end to it.
The human psyche is a lot more fragile than you might think.
No, I'm well aware of how fragile it is.
You work with Sean. So. Even Sean was disgusted with the Xbox thing, and when he and I agree.
That's when Sean fails to see the fandom in something. I'm not like out and out accusing Sean of being a fan of everything, like he's not.
I've always thought of him that he's able to see every side, that he just happens to choose the wrong one.
Yeah, I think that's pretty apt. But the thing is that I think Sean he has a vision into fandom, and I think he can pick out those elements of certain movements or things where he's like, yeah, no, people are gonna love this because of blah, right?
Yeah.
And I think that if Sean can't recognize that, if Sean can't see that, well. there's gonna be trouble.
I mean, I was gonna just save it for the cast. I guess I'll probably end up saying it again. But I mean, there's nothing in this for us. This wasn't for us. This is for. It feels like it's just for 12 to 20-year-old straight white males. I feel like is like all that.
Isn't that the demographic though? I mean, forgive me for being cynical about this, right? But I have long since passed out of that demographic, that ever important, let's grab the 16 to 28-year-olds or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And that actually in part might be why I've failed to embrace console culture recently. It's not like I've never gamed on a console. I still have a functional Sega Genesis. I still have a functional PlayStation 1. I have a functional Xbox, well, borderline functional. You can play it for a few hours, and then it kind of gives up the ghost. And then it needs to cool down. And a functional PS2. But this last generation, I was just like, wow, not for me, man. And then this one, furthermore, I'm just kind of like, seriously? Guys? I guess that does actually come part and parcel to having, like, an income and being able to spend exorbitant amounts of money on a gaming PC. I would probably feel different if, you know, like I had to save my money from a part-time job and, like...
You're exorbitant.
I am exorbitant.
No, you are a exorbitant.
I'm exorbitant?
Yep. Because you exorbitant makes it sound like you used to be exorbitant, but I was affirming that you were still exorbitant.
Right. I see what you're getting at here. You really are broken, aren't you? I am so sorry, Austin. I'm so sorry that it wasn't me. That it wasn't me who did it. I wanted to be the one
to fill my soul with light.
Like, the only thing we were missing was a Ridge Racer or a giant enemy crab.
What kind of... I feel like the big, like, meme moment was, this is rocket science. But I feel like there must have been a couple other ones I just lost to my brain.
Well, the one I think was, like, wasn't it revealed that the applause when he was switching between Internet Explorer and Xbox, that was actually manufactured?
Apparently all of it was. I saw a couple tweets from game journalists who were there who said, we're not clapping.
Yeah.
Like...
I guess it wasn't exactly meme worthy, but that was like the moment where I was just like, why the hell are you applauding him switching from TV to console? Like, I have a $99 TV. It's called the input select button.
Yeah, there was a bunch of applause at like really weird moments too, and it sounded fake. So that even before I started seeing like confirmation that the applause was fake, like I was a little skeptical. But then when I saw them start coming in, I was like, oh Jesus.
Yeah. Plus, then, of course, there was the Snap thing, which the only thing I could think that might be useful is maybe the Pizza Hut app, as stupid as it is. At least that way you can be like, you know, oh, I'm playing a game probably by myself, because is it just me or is the new design, like, really unfriendly for local multiplayer?
It's unfriendly for everything. Who is going to be playing a game and can't pause it long enough to order a pizza? Like, who are they marketing to? What strange beasts go through their lives this way? I saw someone else say, I feel like I'm stealing this line. We are already a multi-device culture. I know they want to take over the living room, but people aren't gonna do that. That's just not, no one's gonna order their pizza while watching Star Trek on a Skype call. We will pause the movie, talk to our friend, and when we're done talking to our friend, we'll order the pizza before sitting back down to watch the movie.
Maybe you'll pause the movie. I'll just be like, nah, fuck you, I'm watching a movie.
Well, yeah, Johnny won't even answer the call, and he'll make his own artisan pizza on his wood-fire stove. Because he's too cool for Pizza Hut. And then you'll drink your microbrews and listen to fucking bullshit-ass music no one's ever heard of. Fucking Kentucky bluegrass with fucking... I can't even think of music references fast enough to make them funny.
Where the hell are you getting Kentucky bluegrass?
I was gonna combine it. I was gonna say with like dubstep or something, like where it starts off with like banjos and then it hits the drop.
Right. Kentucky bluegrass dubstep with a hard house backbeat.
No, I kind of want to hear that. Right.
I'll see what I can rustle up for you.
I'm Googling it. Bluegrass dubstep.
Oh, it exists. You know it exists.
It auto-filled before I was done typing.
Can we call this episode The Madness of King Austin?
Oh my god, I'm listening to bluegrass dubstep.
Shit.
Fuck you. Oh my god, this is my life. I'm crying. Oh, guys. Where's Taylor?
I would like to tell you that it's going to be okay.
But it's not.
It's really not. It gets worse from here.
Someone else pointed this out, and so I'm just going to steal it. Is that this is probably going to sound like I edited it, but actually that is the transition I tried to use. Someone pointed out to me that the Xbox One event thing played out like a parody of modern press conferences. You can ask Gabe. I put in the chat what they were going to say before they said it. I said, what was it, sports, shooter, or sports, social aspects, something I remember. I basically timelined it, and it was exactly how it went. It was so predictable.
I don't think that means it qualifies as a parody, though.
But it was, though, because they were so excited about it.
Austin, that is like calling, I don't know, whatever terrible teen drama the WB has like lined up.
It's not self-aware enough, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's nowhere near self-aware enough. The WB, is that even still a thing?
I have no idea. I'm surprised TV is still a thing.
Of course it's still a thing. People are reticent to move into the future. Particularly the people who have things like money rolling in from TV. I mean, recently, speaking of Warner Brothers, we just saw Warner Brothers pull a bunch of movies out of Netflix, because now they want you to go and pay Warner Brothers money to watch a Warner Brothers movie, right?
If they spent half the money on modernizing all this shit that they spent on trying to keep it from progressing, they would be the ones making all the money.
Yeah, but I mean, it's people's expectation that they are living in a culture where profits should go up rather than goods becoming cheaper because of basically at this point in time what we're talking about with movies and music and TV shows and games and things like that is the only cost that really comes into it is labor and maybe marketing. You're not talking about distribution, you're not talking about manufacturing, you're not talking about limited resources, like having the amount of money it would cost to like do another series of printings, and it's only worth it if like you make a movie and you've got a movie now. You can toss it up on the internet and it's there. You can have one data copy of a movie and like millions of people can watch it. So everybody seems to think that it's like, oh, well, like if people really, really want to see that one movie, I guess they'll have to come to us to see it. So it's all about grabbing as much as you can, because previously you were getting this much money for your movies, and now you're getting a little bit less because it's easier for people and they don't have to pay as much, and that's not right.
Well, here's the thing. Everyone is jealous of Steam and jealous of Netflix. Why didn't you guys just do that? You should have been, like, I'm sorry, I don't have any sympathy for these people who are so slow to adapt and then want to whine about it. You had a chance, you didn't do it. Also, maybe get your fucking budgets under control. You ever think about that? Why are you spending $500 million on CGI blue people?
I don't know.
My tolerance for bullshit is just zero. Absolutely zero.
Yeah, it will start to go. It's a lot of people are like, oh yeah, the first thing that goes, your joints are the first thing to go. No, it's your tolerance for bullshit. Fuck, I don't have the time for this shit. I am dying slowly.
But here's the thing, I was all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning, and now I'm just cynical and jaded. It was like it was a switch.
You guys.
I had a really terrifying thought. You're watching television on your Xbox One, right?
Right.
Okay.
You're with me so far.
Yeah.
The characters in this TV show you're watching are playing Xbox One. One of the characters says, Xbox off.
Well, Austin, there's a little bit of fault in this assumption here, because what you are assuming is that every depiction we've seen of people playing video games in movies and television is accurate. Now, I'm going to do a quick impression of every example of video games I've ever seen in movies and television. Oh boy, I've almost got the high score. What level are you on? 50 bajillion? Oh yeah? I can get to 53 bajillion. You cannot. Yes, I can. Just watch. That was my dramatic reenactment of video games in movies and television.
Everyone knows that the levels don't go up to 50 bajillion.
It's true.
The reports are just rolling in. Look at this one. Xbox One won't separate games into live arcade, indie, and retail. It's all one thing. So good luck getting your indie games seen when all of the big titles are automatically promoted above them.
Well, that's the thing on Twitter. I follow a few indie developers like Conjack and ZBoyd Games. ZBoyd said, okay, Microsoft has just served indie gamers on a silver platter to Nintendo and Sony. It's like, yeah. And that was the big thing. Like, the whole time they're like, this makes it easier for developers. It makes it so much easier for developers. We can get more developers on board. But they never mentioned anybody other than EA.
Well, yeah, they don't really care about little guys. So like I said, Sony's actually the one who's making real efforts to reach out to indie people.
And it wasn't even just indie for them. They actually were like, okay, here's some third-party developers and they're working for us. Like, they're going to be working to make games for us. Xbox, they didn't even name, like, third parties that people would just commonly know, other than EA.
I mean, they had Activision there, but...
Well, yeah, but Activision just shows up whenever they want.
They don't even get invited. They just show up. They're like, we have Call of Duty. Are you going to stop us from getting on stage?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if they show up at E3 and they're like, bam, exclusive Chrono Trigger, bam, exclusive Final Fantasy 8000, or if they just start showing up with like
because
crazy...
Final Fantasy has so much goodwill in gamers' eyes right now.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to think of like big, high-profile titles that they could somehow get their hands on. I'm just saying I couldn't think of anything because they are.
If the next Bethesda game comes out and it's like an Xbox exclusive,
yeah,
that'll be big
Elder
news.
Scrolls 6, boom, exclusive. That's never gonna happen. But if it did, like then maybe I'd start to care. Yeah, whatever. I don't even care anymore. I was about to get on that subject, but fuck it. I don't care about anything.
You're learning, Austin. You're learning. This just in. Still nothing through text.
He better have died in a car accident. I'm going to be pissed.
Or at least lost his texting hand.
Just so he can't use the other hand?
Yeah,
Only the one was suitable. He tried to text with the other hand. He's like, man, it's just not the same.
It just doesn't feel right, yo.
No, why does Taylor say yo?
Because he's obviously in shock.
Yo, he's still bleeding out. I thought this was like weeks later after the recovery process. He's just bleeding on the sidewalk. He's like, yo.
He's like, yo, bro, dude.
Dog homie.
Dog homie. Chum.
So, Resident Evil boobs.
Are you that goo thing that happened earlier?
What?
Oh, you haven't seen that?
No.
They have two DLC characters for Resident Evil Revelations, the re-release. And one is Lady Hunk, who is pretty much Hunk without his pants. And the other is Rachel Ooze, who I haven't gotten all the way to the end of Revelation, so I can't remember who she is.
I like how the defining characteristic of Lady Hunk is that she doesn't wear pants. Like, that is the difference between men and women in video games. Women wear less clothes. That's it.
Unless they are pretending to be men, in which case they wear more clothes and speak with an unnecessarily husky voice.
Actually, that reminds me, because I was trying to watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which is apparently the better one, or at least
Nerd!
It's the one closer to the manga. It is a lot more epic, too.
Well, where I was going with that before Johnny rudely interrupted me is that the main character is the voice actress is the same person who does Naoto in Persona 4, and it's really distracting because she's doing the voice. She's a female playing a male character that I recognize from a game where she's a female playing male character playing a female character. So it's like, it's confusing is what I'm trying to say, and it's really distracting.
No, I get you. And for the record, I have no problems with the fact that you're a nerd, Austin.
I feel like I am the prime demographic that they were going for. I play Call of Duty. I play Madden. I should be excited.
No, you see, the problem is, this is the distinct problem, is that what they're advertising to you at this point in time, Austin, you've already had more than your fair share of. You've been made very well aware of it over the years that you have played video games. And this is something that happens, is that you become so inundated with video game culture that you kind of begin to recognize its mechanisms. You begin to recognize the flash and the zazz and, the fact that sequel after sequel after sequel starts coming out. And, I mean, you've seen fucking how old were you when the Xbox 360 came out?
Oh, it was like 6 years ago?
Yeah. So
I was 16?
So you were sort of in your late teens, which means that over the course of your life, what you've managed to see in your video gaming life that you might, actively full-on remember is a lot of hubbub around the release of, the PlayStation and the Xbox and the PS2 and then the PS3 and the Xbox 360, and you're recognizing a pattern now. You're seeing dudes in suits who don't really care about the video game industry get up on stage and tell you what they think you should be excited about. When what's actually happening is the things that they're trying to sell you don't really, A, relate to your hobby at all, B, resonate as being exciting, new, or worth, like a $400,000 presentation where you get like giant TVs and be like, hey, look, another Madden game. Like, I guarantee you there's a 13-year-old out there right now who watched that presentation and is, like, shitting his pants with joy right now.
I mean, even at 13, I knew that there would be a Madden on the new console. I'm not mad that they showed it. I'm mad that they pretended like it was a big deal.
But that's the thing. It's a big deal to somebody. It's not a big deal to you. It's not a big deal to me. It's not a big deal to Gabe. Like, we've seen this shit before.
I don't know.
We're not the advertising market anymore. You can't.
Here's the difference, okay? If they had come out and said Halo 5, Gears of War 4, Fable 4, Forza 5, which they did say, but if they had said that, right, I would have been like, oh yeah, I saw that coming. But, you know, those are new. That's cool. I mean, it's racers and shooters, but I'm excited, you know. It's that they came with things that were already confirmed as their selling points and non-exclusive. Do you see the difference here between I see what you were saying, that the familiarity breeds contempt. I'm saying that there are different kinds of familiarity, and they picked the wrong kind.
That may be the case, but I don't think I don't think that getting older in the video game industry helps one's perception of new stuff. Because I honestly can't see this as being that much worse than when like the Xbox 360 was announced to me.
But just compare it to the PS4 when it was just announced a couple months ago, right? They came out and they said new Killzone, new Infamous, new IP.
See, no, I didn't care about any of that. The only thing that really surprised me about the PS4 was that they were going back to an x86 chip structure, and I was like, thank God, that's really gonna help smaller developers get their games to the PS4. And then after that, they were like, oh yeah, and by the way, we're adding all this support for smaller developers. Because right now, that's my attention. My attention is all on smaller developers. I'm like, fantastic, you know, the indie scene, Kickstarters. I'm all about that shit right now.
No, I'm right there with you. I mean, we talked about about that. What I'm saying is that the unexciting announcements at the PS4 event were not insulting.
Yeah.
All right. Fair point.
They're both obvious announcements. They're both, run-of-the-mill, expected sequels to things, blah, blah, blah. But at least Sony treated us as if we're not, like, drooling morons.
Well, we can, we could take into account the possibility that Microsoft was unprepared for this.
They pushed it back to have more time.
For what reason? We don't know.
I would assume to be able to adjust their strategy to compete with whatever Sony showed. Unless their strategy was to just not show anything, not raise everyone's expectations, and then maybe or lower them and then double clear the bar at E3.
That's the thing, is that we don't know. We honestly don't know what's going through their heads at this point in time. Why they pushed it back? Did they push it back because they wanted to rework the always online thing?
I feel like it's a little late in the game to be fucking around with that shit. I don't know.
The thing is that Sony comes to the table and is like, PS4. You want to make sure you get your foot in the door before they go on sale.
Well, actually, I do think that might be why they did that whole Snap-on thing. It's because they didn't really get why everyone was so buzzing about PS4's social apps. So they're like, well, they have social apps. We need to push our own social apps.
I don't know. I feel like that stuff takes more development time than that, and this is all old. I don't know. I feel like they didn't make much use of that intervening time.
In any case, what do you guys say that we officially begin the podcast?
Yeah, do that. This is going to be a fucking bitch to edit, but whatever.
Consider it done.
I don't have a soul left anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to Crushing Your Innocence, the podcast. Yes, that's right, Crushing Your Innocence, where we here speak to you at great detail about all the things you're really excited for in life and why they are invariably going to completely destroy your spirit, your character, and reduce you to a gibbering wreck of a man or woman, leaving you with nothing to look forward to in life but pure and utter disappointment. Today on the Crushing Your Soul podcast, we are going to be talking about your first sexual experiences. We're also going to be talking about entering the workforce. We're going to be talking about making a family. But most importantly, and I'm going to move directly to the point here in a way that we have never done on Crushing Your Innocence, the podcast before, myself, your host, Johnny Maloney, and my co-hosts, Austin Yorsky, and special guest, Gabriel Bono, are going to be talking about the Xbox One. Yes, that's right. We're going to be talking about video games. Gentlemen, say hello.
Hold on to your mustaches, folks. Should we actually give Gabe a better introduction? I don't know if anyone knows who he is.
Let's talk about Gabriel Bono. So Gabriel Bono, born in the faraway land of Swedenshire, which I believe is a province to Norwegistan, later liberated through a civil war to become the United Republic of. Now, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. Am I pronouncing that right, Gabe?
Well, it's actually.
I apologize. Reading the accents is a little difficult.
It's my understanding that where Gabe is from is actually where they invented chicken, which is why his icon on the site. That's why his picture is a chicken.
Now they may not actually get a chance to actually see his icon on the website, Austin, because your wonderful bearded mug is usually the only one that accompanies the podcast, with an occasional really weird Photoshop of my avatar in there. But Gabriel is, of course, one of the writers for Blistered Thumbs. I say, of course, as if like those are the only people we have on this podcast. But in any case, tell us a little bit about yourself, Gabriel.
Let's see. I write the Freeware Friday column every so often. I've been sort of trailing off because I just finished school. That's about it.
So, tell us how disappointing your first sexual experience was.
I have to put the fifth on that one.
Now, in case you can't tell from Austin's somewhat labored laughs of mania and... Somebody was a little emotionally affected today, I think. I think it's fair to say that you were a little emotionally affected.
I was emotionally lobotomized.
By the Microsoft extravaganza that happened today. We are recording this on Tuesday, May the 21st. And the question on everybody's mind is, what is Microsoft smoking?
I would like some.
I really wouldn't, because it apparently makes you kind of stupid. In case you're living under a rock that isn't connected to the internet, because as we know, all things are connected to the internet these days.
Wait, how are they listening to this if they're not connected to the internet?
Oh, I said unless you're living under a rock. Maybe they go to Starbucks for the Wi-Fi. I don't know.
Our podcast is always online, just like the Xbox One.
Always. Now, before you start screaming and throwing things, that's not actually the case.
It's mostly online.
It's mostly online.
That's a new we're going to have to coin that term. The Xbox One is mostly online.
Yeah. It's mostly online at night. Mostly.
I'm going to leave in a lot of our pre-intro chatter, so that'll be like the groundwork there. I don't think we'll need to go all the way back to the beginning for this.
No, but we should lay it out. Microsoft had their event today. You know, and their pre-E3 event, because pre-E3 events are things that exist, but this is before even those pre-E3 events happened. So this is a pre-E3 event, right? Where they finally announced and laid out at least a skeletal structure of what we can expect from the Xbox One. Now, that is the actual official name. This isn't me making up a ridiculous name. It's not like the Microsoft Pants Razor or the Microsoft Kettle Cheese.
I was fond of the Record Baby.
The Record Baby?
I think that was my favorite.
I think the Q-Zone was my favorite, actually.
The Q-Zone is good.
The Microsoft Q-Zone. So yeah, they announced the Xbox One today, and it's got some things. Like, it's got a second version of the Kinect, which is going to be integral to the working of the system, meaning that it won't work unless the Kinect is plugged in. It's got all the things that you might expect from it, such as Netflix, cable television, Skype, being able to Skype while watching cable television, a controller that has stuff in it that allows you to control video games. It's going to have an 8-core CPU, 8 gigabytes of memory, presumably DDR3. I hope DDR3, at least anyways. A 500 gigabyte hard disk drive, not an SSD. I was expecting an SSD myself, but no. It's adopting Blu-ray. It's going to have wireless, HDMI, USB 3 connection. Achievements are going to transfer over, so presumably your gamer tags are going to remain intact. Xbox Live is going to be perdified, I guess is the industry term.
More servers and improved matchmaking.
Yeah. So there's a lot there for people to be mildly impressed about.
Or not. Johnny, I think we should start. What do you guys think of the name Xbox One? That's where I want to start.
It's stupid.
Terrible.
I have no words for the level of stupidity that that name possesses.
Very rarely are we united on the podcast with unanimity. That's an impressive thing for Microsoft to completely unite the Blistered Thumbs podcast. The Xbox One?
Is it worse than the Wii U? I think so.
At least Wii U's kind of fun to say. It's like, okay, we have the Xbox, but fine, okay, it's an Xbox. It's extreme, whatever. Xbox 360, 360, Circle, Revolution. Xbox One, what? Yeah, I don't know.
It's one unified living room box is what the idea is, that you only need the one thing because it does everything. Although I thought the PS3 did everything.
I think that the Wii U is definitely much more fun to say. But I expect that kind of goofiness from Nintendo. For them to be like, it's the Wii U.
It's kind of cute when Nintendo does it. You're like, oh, you guys, you don't even know what you're doing.
But like, I half expect Microsoft when they're like introducing the Xbox One. I expect like fireworks to shoot out, and then like the Queen theme from Highlander to be like, here we are, born to be kings, we're the princes of the universe, and then like a bunch of dancers to run out on stage and not know what the fuck they're doing, like not like the dancers, but for them to be like, yeah, this is what people want from a video game announcement.
Yeah.
Pyrotechnics and dancers.
It's dumb for a couple of reasons. One, it runs into the same issue the Wii U's having, which is that people aren't going to easily be able to know that's like a new thing, right? Because one sounds like it precedes, later installments, which is the confusion that the Wii U is causing. And also, if you have to explain to someone what the name means, like I just had to do, it's probably not a good name. You probably should evoke the things you want to say about your product. That's why they the rumored names that were going around, I think it was the Xbox Fusion and the Xbox Infinite, which are, I feel more evocative.
Because then you could just refer to them as, what consoles do you own? Oh, I've got a PS4 and I've got an Infinite. And people are like, okay. So it's like, what console do you have? I have the one. Which one? The one. So you have just the one? No, I've got the one in the PS4. Which one? One.
I've seen some good ones. Some people are calling it the XBone, because Xbox One, if you put it out, are also just Zone.
Yeah. Although it's really funny because I don't think that it is really an adequate just the one box for your living room because it's not backwards compatible. Oh, snap. So it's really going to be the Xbox One and the other one.
The Xbox 3/4 one.
Well, I mean, people obviously have collections of games at this point in time, and if they're not going to be able to play it on their Xbox One, they're going to be keeping their 360s around. So would it be fair to say that it's the Xbox 360 and One?
Here's the thing, though, right? The lack of backwards compatibility pissed me off about the PS4 also, but it wasn't as thematically dissonant. Like, it's like with the PS3 to the PS4, it's like we're moving forward. This is the next generation. We're leaving the old stuff behind. Here, it's like everything. We're bringing everything together except all that stuff you already have.
Well, I mean, like they announced the restructuring of the PS4's chip pathways, the motherboard essentially, is like it totally makes sense. And I mean, I guess that the one is going to Blu-ray is an explanation of that.
I mean, we're going to get to some explanations, Johnny, and they all boil down to what makes more money. Letting people play their old games doesn't make money.
Yeah.
Letting them play used games doesn't make money. Letting them get away from advertising doesn't make money.
Yep.
You got to be online to see those ads. And that was the first thing they showed. They're like, here's the new dashboard, guys. This is where all of the promoted material is going to go. So if we want you to see something, this is where it's going to be. Guess what? You're going to see ads. This is where the Doritos ad's going to go. This is where the Mountain Dew ad goes. And here's the box where your game goes. So that's how they kicked it off. And that's what's going to be. And also you're going to pay a monthly fee to see those ads.
Woo! Man, this console gaming thing is looking better and better and better.
If I'm sounding cynical, it's because I fucking am, guys. You've heard it from the pre-intro chatter, but I was not impressed. I was livid, and then I was sad, and then I was okay, and now I'm angry again. I'll probably be sad in a little bit, but we'll get there.
You know what's really funny though, Austin? I'm just gonna totally sidetrack us just for a second.
Do it.
That my Crushing Your Innocence podcast title. Yeah, I thought that up this morning.
That wasn't in reaction? That
was not a reaction. That was me being like, yeah, okay, absolutely, let's do that. And it serendipity.
It was meant to be, Johnny. Meant to be. But yeah, so, I mean, I think if you go back to our earlier episodes, we weren't super excited about the PS4. We had some nice things to say. We had some not so nice things to say about it. But I think at the end, we weren't mad.
There's a little optimism there, I think.
Yeah.
There's a little, there's like the spark of hope that we know is going to get crushed, but we'd rather hold on to the childish delight.
Yeah, but if my job wasn't to play and write about video games, I would not get an Xbox One at all. That just would not be an option in my personal life.
Which one?
The XBone.
The XBone.
I would not get an XBone, but I would probably get a PS4 eventually, depending on the price point. So I think that says it all. Although of course we will say more. Where do you guys want to go next? I don't want to waste all day. You guys have seen all the posts. We'll hit the big ones.
I think you touched on it with your advertising and you're always online. Because I got to be honest with you, I expected worse. I expected a higher, a more stringent requirement for the online component, because it was kind of obvious from the get-go that Microsoft was dicing with this kind of whole how do we work connection into things. And I expected worse. I expected it for it to be always online, or for it to ping every hour or something like that. But no, apparently you're going to need to be online, and we should be clear about this, because a lot of the stuff that I've read on the net has said you need to be online once every 24-hour period, which doesn't seem to be the case. The language is a little bit more.
The vice president of Microsoft told a reporter at the event, you need to be on once a day.
No.
And then Microsoft sent an email out saying that is a possible scenario. We haven't nailed down the time frame.
Yeah, so the language is a little bit more amorphous than that. And like I said, I thought it was going to be worse. So I'm like, oh, that's not as bad as it could have been. Is it still bad?
I can't think of a possible upside to having to play my single-player games while connected to the internet. There is no benefit to the consumer. All it does is it's an anti-piracy measure. It makes it easier to sell you stuff and make you look at ads. They just want you to be accountable. They want to be able to know what you're doing with their products. They want to be able to monitor it. It's pretty simple, guys. They want to, I've said it before, they want to be Apple. They want you in their walled garden.
I don't even think that it's actually an anti-piracy measure, to tell you the truth.
It'll help.
It will help, absolutely, but I think the reason why they're taking it in the first place is game sales. I think it's used games, really.
Well, I guess we can just bundle this up with the used game measures that are apparently in the system that they didn't mention at the conference, because they didn't mention any of the terrible shit at the conference. But it appears that basically CD keys are back. When you buy your XBone Blu-rays, there's going to be a code inside, and when you put it in, which you have to put it in because you have to install all the games, it'll tie it to that console and that account. And then if you want to play that at your friend's house, you have to log into your account on there, which means leaving your details in their machine. So hopefully they don't steal your information. And if you want to sell your games, you're going to have to do it through their services, which they haven't detailed yet, but it looks like they're cutting out GameStop.
I'll bet you they're gonna take a cut of that sale too.
Oh yeah, definitely. That there's no way you're getting any kind of market value for your used XBone games.
I mean, what's to say? Like, yeah, the reason they want you online, it's not going to help you at all. It's just so they can get your statistics on your games. Because I remember when Ubisoft was talking about stats for Assassin's Creed, it was pretty clear. That's how they know what to market, what's working, what's not. So this way they can just get all that information and make sure that you're giving it to them instead of, just being able to be offline and not giving them that information.
Well, here's the thing. Here's how I've heard people rationalize it. It's like, oh, if you were online to watch the conference, if you're online to read this article, then you have online. Why do you care? And, of course, that is some kind of weird alternate universe where we have to personally be affected to have any fucking human empathy, which is a disgusting idea. There are people outside of ourselves who don't have stable internet connections who work on military bases and stuff.
Yeah.
So that is not an acceptable answer to me. I'm just going to throw that out there if people are going to bring that up. And can you guys think of any other possible justifications for this that would, you could throw out there, whether you believe in them or not?
I do believe that people should be paid for the work they do. So as far as the whole concept of anti-piracy measures go, I can appreciate that idea. What I cannot appreciate is that I don't see it as being the right people being paid for their work.
Yeah, I mean, if you sell your game on Microsoft's services, that's not going to the developer. That's going to Microsoft probably.
Yeah.
Any cut of that. I mean, Johnny, you're from a PC environment. You are not accustomed to the concept of used games, You just buy your game and you own it. But the trade-off there is that they cut out manufacturing costs for most PC games. So you're starting at a lower price point.
For the most part.
Most point, not obviously EA's Origin, who are clearly all up in Microsoft's anus on this one.
Oh, man, they had their lips pursed right to the sphincter.
They could have just called that the fucking Microsoft EA Human Centipede Conference.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, sports. Has there ever been a more revolutionary and continuously innovative genre of video games ever made? Because when we think new systems, new technology, new interfaces, new controllers, sports games.
I will come to the defense of sports games in general. I mean, I love sports games. I love sports.
Hey,
so,
I just told you last week, I'm really enjoying FIFA 13. I am.
Yeah. I just want to make it clear, we're not picking on sports as a concept. I'm saying that probably not the thing to lead off your, console reveal show. That doesn't get the crowd pumped.
But also,
I guess it does.
If you press this brand new A button, the ball passes in a slightly different fashion.
Here's the thing I've heard. I've said, this conference isn't for us. This is for people who are watching it on Spike TV. They're watching it in their frat houses. They're watching it, whatever, after they get home from fucking middle school, right? And all they see is Madden and Call of Duty, and they're on board. You know what? That's kind of reasonable. Microsoft doesn't have to cater to me. They're under no obligation. I'm just saying, if I was in charge, even if I wanted to pander to them, I would have brought gameplay footage, for one. All of it was pre-rendered CGI, except for a little bit of Call of Duty at the end, although I know what Call of Duty looks like, people. Even as an attempt to pander to the lowest common denominator, I feel like it failed.
Well, the thing is, yeah, that's the thing. Like, they didn't show us anything. Like, well, that's all I can say, really. Like, all the announcements about all the online stuff, that was after the show. All they did was just show... Like, the only thing I took away from it was Forza pre-rendered, Call of Duty pre-rendered, EA Sports, they were coming anyway.
Yep.
New Remedy game.
The Remedy game was interesting because it is the only exclusive new IP they showed, and most of what they showed was live action, which I do not think is the way to show off your new console as well. That's a pretty big missed opportunity to show off, because I remember the PS4 conference, right? Even if I didn't give a shit about Killzone, which I kind of don't, I remember that gameplay footage they showed, and it was pretty cool. Like, even in a dumb military action way. Like, it was like, oh, look at these polygons. Oh, look at all the bloom and the particle effects. Whatever.
Yeah, but transistors.
That was one of the things that did set me off. I was like, we have 8 million transistors. What does that mean to anyone who is not an electronics expert?
Dude, it means boners around the board.
They should have just showed a circuit diagram and been like, what do you guys think of that shit?
Even girl boners.
Lady boners. Ladywood.
At least that press conference had some good games, so it made up for that weird comment in Tobuscus.
Yeah, there was no comic relief in this one that was intentional. We already talked about the fake laughter in the chatter, so Jesus Christ. The whole thing. It was a failure of showmanship. It was a failure to market. It was a failure to show off anything, really. I feel like the only people who would have walked away from that happy were people who only play Madden and Call of Duty, and they don't care about anything else.
And that will teach any of you to expect anything good out of life ever.
I mean, I hear the words coming out of my mouth, and I sound like an asshole to myself, so I really want someone to pick, try to contradict me here. Was there anything that you guys saw that was good?
Austin, okay. The problem is that you're right.
All right, there was one thing I liked. One thing.
Okay.
New controller.
Yeah, obviously we didn't get hands-on with it, but the new controller, it's not that much different. What are they calling? There's like the impact triggers. Is that what they're calling them? It's like some kind of new, like, fancy, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what they're called. I'll look it up.
I'm going to call it the Microsoft Jackhammer system.
We're just making up terms. Yeah, I mean, it looks fairly similar. They've added some stuff to it. But, I mean, I think the DualShock 4 looks fine, too. I don't know. I feel like that's not a selling point. I'm not like, oh, do you see that fucking controller? Holy shit, sold.
But, like, they were talking about, like, the testing of it afterwards and stuff. It was like they actually did consider two things that, like the touchpad up top, which is what the new DualShock is doing. They're like, we thought about it, like, no, we can't really incorporate that in the game. So it's like, at least the controller people are thinking about how to make this work with games.
Yeah, I looked up. It has an improved D-pad and what they're calling impulse triggers, which who knows what that means. They didn't really specify.
It means that they're slightly slower than warp speed.
I figured that they're just maybe to more accurately simulate pulling a trigger, like on a gun, because I'm sure that all they thought about when they made it was first-person shooters. So I
was gonna say, I think it's like they actually have rumble in the sticks. Like, it's not just going to be in the controller, it's in the sticks, too. And like,
well, yeah, they have, yeah, basically that each part of the controller can rumble separately.
So force feedback.
Exciting.
You guys, I just wanted for buy to Xbox One.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I was talking about this with James earlier, and he was like, yeah, I mean, they found a demographic. They're sticking with it. They're going to sell the Call of Duty and the Madden, and that they're making money. What's wrong with that? And I can respect that. But here's my immediate thought, is if we are just assuming that these, like, morons, because that's basically how we're treating them, these morons out there who are going to go out and buy an XBone just because it has the big-name franchises, which, by the way, PS4 will also have, but whatever. And they take it home, and they have to start putting in CD keys and shit. Don't you think they're going to get frustrated? Because apparently they are Neanderthals. I feel like that these two things are at odds.
I've got an interesting question. Do we know whether or not support for Xbox Live on the 360 is going to dissipate?
I think they said it's all one account, so I do not think it will.
One would hope.
That's my understanding, is that, yeah, they realized that specifically because of how important achievements have become, that it was easier just to migrate your account and keep it all one thing.
Okay, well, as far as the CD keys go, you know what? It might just be like a press another button scenario. Like, the CD key might already be encoded onto the disc. Just be like, oh, here's your CD key. Press A to continue.
Well, I'm not even just saying the act of putting the CD key in. I'm saying, have you met, like, the average teenage American white straight male? Like,
no,
these
I
are some...
stay away from people like that as much as possible.
I'm just saying there's some knuckle-dragging motherfuckers, and they are going to be confused about installing and about stuff like that. These are... I don't know. I'm saying that their attempt to only include one group who is not smart enough to appreciate all the other stuff they're doing seems a little silly.
Well, the big thing for me is all the stuff they were advertising, all I could think was like, okay, the people you're marketing this to, they probably have a tablet, and a tablet can do everything you're saying, plus it's portable, plus it can, most of them at least have some functionality offline, and we knew that from before.
Yeah.
But Gabriel, it's not hardcore.
Okay, hardcore. Yeah, that's the thing. They want to abolish all other gadgets, but, people they want their smartphone and their tablet and their shit, They are not interested in your domination of the market. Like, they don't want to be complicit in that. Apparently they thought that we're all just going to be on board.
Yeah.
You mean the very idea that you can buy one gadget and then it completely destroys the usefulness of all others?
Yeah, like, people love having all their stuff become outdated.
God damn it, I'm throwing out my tape deck.
Also, I feel like they think that they're bringing us into some kind of Minority Report future where everything is like swipes and voice commands, but that shit is not only annoying and barely works half the time, but is just unprecedented amounts of trolling potential.
But Austin, it's a new Kinect.
Well, Johnny, if you're sitting there trying to play the new Halo, I'm just going to be yelling Xbox, search, goat porn. Over and over and over. Or I don't even have to go that far. I'll just be like, Xbox, Bing, and you will know fear. They actually did. They seriously brought up Bing during the conference, and I laughed. They didn't say the word Bing, but it popped up when they said, like, Xbox browser.
Well, who wouldn't laugh?
You know what I'm saying, though? Like, to them, that's like, oh, yes, this is the future. You can bring your movie up just by flailing your hands. But to me, all I'm going to think is that I'm sitting here trying to watch a movie, and my brother's going to walk into the room and just flail to fuck with it and then walk out.
I keep trying to tell people, that the most horrifying thing about the state of video games these days is that the people who are in charge don't actually enjoy video games. They enjoy business and profits. And if profits weren't in the business of video games, they would take their business somewhere else.
From a business perspective, right, just looking at the numbers, this sounds like a slam dunk, right? You bring new hardware, you bring the best-selling franchises, you lock out the pirates, you lock out the used games, you keep it all for yourself. That makes perfect sense, except for the part where you consider that the people you're selling to are human beings and they have feelings.
When the last consoles launched, I had a bet with a friend of mine that he was basically saying the PS3 was going to outstrip them all. He was convinced it was gonna do it. And I said to him, why? He's like, because it does everything. It's a home theater. It's a video game system. You can watch movies on it. It's a DVD player. It's a Blu-ray player. It's this, it's that. It's everything. And I said, yeah, people don't want that.
Yeah. I've seen the stats. Most people use their console either as a Netflix machine or only for games. Like one or the other. And
the only reason why they use it as a Netflix machine is because currently it is the easiest, cheapest way to get Netflix on your TV. You know, unless you've got a tower computer nearby that seems like has an extra DVI to HDMI plug.
Which I will once again bring up, most people don't have any idea what the fuck you're talking about and wouldn't be able to hook it up if they did.
Exactly.
So none of that is even an issue because people need things to be simple and they need them to be relatively specialized. I mean, yeah, like I saw the PS3 as well and I was like, oh, that sounds sweet. $600. Haha, and then I didn't get it for like years, even as much as I wanted it. Like the only reason I got a PS3 is because my friend was going to jail and he needed money, so I bought it from him for like half.
You were gonna have to tell me the rest of that story later.
I'll tell the story now. He was a drug dealer. Dude, I know some hardcore fucking people. I'm not even playing around. Like, I guess we'll do story time later.
You live in Florida, I believe this.
Yeah. Dude, I am like relatively sane by Florida standards. Even I've been into some shit. So
yeah, it's gonna be story time later. It's gonna be the Blistered Thumbs podcast. PM. In any case, I think it's kind of fair to say that they sort of dropped the ball. I mean, other news. Apparently, we're gonna see Rare come back and make a game. I think that pretty much sums that up.
Like Rare, it's been so long since the last good game they made was Cameo. Even that wasn't that great. And the thing is, like, they said historic franchise, which back in the day that meant something, but nowadays it could be like Grabbed by the Ghoulies, which would be correct. It was a historic franchise. Historic franchise that eventually that led everybody to start believing that Rare was not capable of developing games.
I'm really skeptical of reboots and reimaginings at this point in time.
I mean, if it's Banjo 3, I will get it. But otherwise, I mean, there's no room for a new Perfect Dark. There's no room for a new Killer Instinct. There's no room for any of those. I guess, yeah, like 3D platformers, there's actually kind of some space there now because it's kind of fallen out of fashion. So if they did a Banjo 3, I'd be on board. But otherwise, I don't,
Like on Polygon, they were suggesting that it might be Killer Instinct 3 since Microsoft did renew the trademark for that just like 6 months ago. But the thing is, now Killer Instinct was made at a time where fighters didn't have to be technically as good. Like nowadays, the fighting community is so hardcore. Like they can find out balances within like 10 minutes between all fighters.
Yeah. If they brought Killer Instinct back, it would have to be like a $15 downloadable thing.
Yeah.
I do not think they would fund it in any way enough for it to be competitive with actual fighting games these days. And even the indie fighting game scene is like, you got fucking Skullgirls in there. You're going to get crushed.
Dive Kick.
Dive Kick. Oh my god. Have you guys seen Dive Kick?
Yes,
I don't know if
that's why I mentioned Dive Kick.
I was kind of just like saying it out loud. Like, I don't know if our listeners know. Do we want to get into Dive Kick? Do we have time for that?
Dive Kick is a one-hit win fighting game in which people have only one move, and that is the Dive Kick.
And it sounds like super simplistic, like almost jokey, but it actually teaches pretty good fighting game fundamentals. It teaches like spacing, and you gotta be careful where you move, and what's called footsies. You gotta like kind of it's
also pretty fucking hilarious.
It's all the comedy value is great.
Have you seen the live action like behind the scenes trading trailer?
I have not.
Oh, there's this behind the scenes trailer for Dive Kick where it's like, they're talking about the motion capture that goes into Dive Kick. I'm Googling it right now.
Taylor just messaged me. Do you guys want to bring him in?
Yeah, let's bring Taylor into the call.
Oh, I'll wait until he's here. I was like, we got pretty much all of the Xbox stuff done, but if he wants to throw his opinion on here, do it.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah, Dive Kick, it looks cool, but I don't know.
I'm telling you to check that video out when you get a chance. It's fucking hilarious. Taylor.
Hello.
Welcome back to the podcast. Your impressions of the Xbox presentation in give me 3 sentences.
53 sentences. Okay.
He said 3.
I said 3.
Oh, okay.
We're 2 hours in,
try
you're kind of...
Try and make it into a haiku.
Oh, man. I don't know about that thing, man. Like, it was an hour of them saying nothing, really. Like, none of it... I'm sure I'm going to repeat everything you guys have already said,
That's 2 sentences. Sorry. No, keep going.
I'm done. No, but it's like there was... I don't think a lot of people expected games, but there was, like, unless you count Call of Duty, there was literally no in-game footage of anything.
Nope.
Everything was pre-rendered or real life, which I don't really understand what that whole Remedy project was. That was kind of strange.
If you're going to show off your new hardware, you got to take, real live footage from a camera, because that shows off the processing power. Like FMV games.
But you guys,
right?
It's got 8 gigabytes of memory.
8 gigabytes of memory.
They totally should have, guys. They should have debuted a Night Trap reboot.
Oh, God.
System seller. But
no, what was that? Oh, what was Leon's favorite game?
He liked a lot of dumb things.
Sewer Shark.
No.
The Dig? That's not FMV.
Oh, fuck you guys.
Don't wear ties.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I remember the cover art. The cover art was like a keyhole looking into like a hotel room or something like that.
Night Trap? No, did you say you said that? No, I don't know.
No, it wasn't Night Trap. It wasn't Night Trap.
Hour?
No, it wasn't 11th hour, 7th guest.
I give up.
Yeah.
So, we're 2 hours in here, and we just brought a new person in because we are not professional. We have no standards. We don't know what we're doing. It's all good fun.
I have some standards. I just want to make this clear. I am just perfectly comfortable violating it for these purposes.
Okay. Are we done with the Xbox? I feel like I was really negative. Do we have...
Double Switch!
Double Switch.
It was called Double Switch!
Oh. Damn it. Now I have to leave the whole part in.
Sorry.
For that punchline. I asked this already to them. Taylor, was there anything good that you took away from that? Because otherwise we come off like a bunch of negative dicks.
Was there anything good about it? That's hard to say. I mean, I guess what's cool if you're really into like having things be convenient, it was kind of cool that you could switch between games and TV and stuff like on the fly.
Like my Wii U does?
Yeah, I mean, exactly, right? I mean, that was kind of cool, but everything else was just like, do I really want to track my fantasy team while I'm watching the game? Like, that seems intrusive. I'd rather just look at that stuff on my phone while I'm watching the game.
It also seems fucking psychotic. Like, if you can't wait 5 seconds,
yeah,
to, look that shit up on your phone. Like, calm down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This all seemed like, oh my gosh, it has to be right now. It's like, are you trying to make our attention spans shorter than they already are? Like, fuck.
Yeah.
And I don't know. What really was kind of creepy to me was how the Kinect always has to be like on or whatever. It always has to be connected to your Xbox. So I'm like, are they going to be gathering information like when you're watching TV and stuff? Like, I don't know what they're going to do with that sort of capability. That seems a little strange to me.
I was joking about that with Johnny earlier. I was like, if it's plugged into your wall, even when it's off, it's still listening to your house. So that it could be like recording your sex noises and sending them to Microsoft.
I am legitimately curious as to whether or not they actually have the security infrastructure to stop people from accessing your Kinect and spying on you.
Especially when they're going to piss a lot of people off with their anti-used games and sometimes online DRM. You know Anonymous is going to try to take that shit down.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna take a shot at it. I don't know if they're going to like take it down exactly, because to take it down would be nothing
took down
short of
Sony's.
No, I mean, you know, when you say take it down, I think of a slightly more permanent solution.
Oh, no. I'm referring to, like, you know, they're going to DDoS it. They're going to try to steal, you know, security passwords and stuff to compromise it, and, you know, they're generally going to try to fuck with them.
Yeah, they're gonna make them spend money to make the customer feel like they are completely protected. But that weirds me the fuck out. If, like, I've got a webcam connected to my computer. It's got a shutter. I keep it closed.
Also, remember we talked about this last week. If someone hacks the Xbox One stuff and gets into your Kinect, all you have to do is destroy your computers, and you'll be fine. Yeah, there's no consequences to be to messing with.
Or be pregnant.
Yep. Taylor, you weren't here for that, dude. We are criminal masterminds at this point.
Oh, really? Do tell.
Yeah.
Well, I'll listen to the rest of it in post or something.
Taylor,
I don't want you to relive the entire 2 hours. There'll be a 10-hour podcast.
What do you think about the name Xbox One?
It was funny. I was listening to a lot of live stream coverages, and people, when they were saying, it's like, well, when Microsoft launched Xbox One, referring to the original Xbox, they weren't correcting themselves either, so it was really confusing. Like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the first Xbox or this one? And I'm wondering what they're trying to do with this. I'm like, why? At first I was like, oh, it's an all-in-one device, but then that doesn't really make sense to call it Xbox One. Are they is the fourth one gonna be called Xbox 2? It's like
start all over, get back up to 360, and then they'll have no idea what to do.
I don't get it.
The next one's gonna be called the Y Box, and it's gonna be like, Y Box because we like you.
Please come back.
I mean, what were your guys' guesses as to why they called it that?
I mean, they basically said it outright, and I reiterated it earlier. Yeah, they are the one device for your living room. They want to be your one source of entertainment. But yeah, I mean,
well, here's what I also want to say. I feel like they're targeting something that has passed them by, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't watch TV. I watch like YouTube and I watch Netflix. So it seems weird that they're like trying to take over the living room when that's sort of a space that
the Starbucks is the new living room.
Yeah, like that the living room is a space that is disappearing. At least maybe not to everybody, but that seems sort of like a weird thing.
To the tech savvy among us.
Yeah.
It is no longer quite so important.
I watch Hannibal because it's a fucking awesome show, and I don't get Hulu in Canada. So
wait, I had these same complaints about the Wii U second screen. I was like, is that really that big of a deal? Like, are people really fighting over the TV?
Oh, dude, it's not a case of fighting over the TV. It's that there are certain laws in America about content generation and how that content...
I wasn't talking to you, Johnny.
Yeah, well, go fuck yourself.
I'm saying, comparing the Wii U's fascination with the living room to Microsoft's. I know about your Hulu thing. You say that like every week.
Eat a dick!
I'd rather eat 2 dicks than play the XBone.
That sounds dirty either way you cut it.
Don't cut the bone.
All right, let us continue. Second screen.
Oh, God, I'm tired of talking about video games. Can we talk about something else?
Well, I was just about to talk about how Hannibal is a fucking amazing show.
I don't know what...
It's Brian Fuller's new show. Brian Fuller, who created Dead Like Me and Pushing Daisies and Wonderfalls. He's got a new show. It's about Hannibal Lecter, but it's about Hannibal Lecter before Red Dragon, or Manhunter, as the case may be.
Hannibal Lecter Origins.
Well, no, but it's after Hannibal Rising.
So he's a killer, but he's not quite Anthony Hopkins yet.
Yeah, well, he's played by Mads Mikkelsen, the guy who was the villain in Casino Royale.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing.
But guys, Halo, the TV show, that's all that matters, with Steven Spielberg's.
Okay, is it just me, or is Spielberg really bad luck anywhere near a video game?
I don't know, The Dig was pretty good.
I already made our Dig reference for the week. Can't bring him up again.
I'm sorry, I have to.
Like, wasn't he working? He was working on a video game until like 2010, and they dropped his like LMNO or something. Let's see. Of course, any video game that's based on his stuff it usually doesn't work. And like, we don't even know how involved he's going to be. If he's just going to be like a producer, which
some of the Indiana Jones games worked. Some of them.
It wasn't even worth his time to fly out to the damn event. I don't think he cares.
Yeah, I think that's all you need to know.
He was like, "No, I'll just webcam it. It's fine."
It's that his kid's Xbox, and I just use that as a verb. His kid's Xbox, and he's like, "Hey kids, I'm cool.
I will do the Xbox for you."
He's Xboxing.
Can we Xbox together? Can we play?
And you just know his kids were like watching that, and then afterwards they're like, "Oh, Dad,
I don't care.
You're so fucking lame."
Yeah. Wouldn't that be funny if like Steven Spielberg's kids just didn't respect him? That idea.
Never seen Duel.
No one has any idea what you're talking about.
Suck it.
This has been a really like fellatio-filled couple of minutes. People keep telling me to eat dicks and suck dicks. Earlier I was talking about something about sucking dicks. I can't even remember now.
We were talking about the Kinect. You said the Kinect can suck my dick, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm afraid that's not going to happen.
It's just a really oral episode. I don't know, guys. I apologize.
That's all right.
So, is this the part where you talk about what we've been playing, or do anyone care anymore? I feel like
I've been playing video games.
You are a liar.
No, it's true.
Fine, talk about them.
You guys, I played SimCity.
Get out of here, Johnny.
Were you patching it, or did you play it?
I did actually have to patch it before I played it again, because regular listeners, will remember last week that I played Patch SimCity. I played Patch SimCity again, but it was like a much shorter game this week. And then I actually played SimCity, and it's really good. Not just as sort of like, oh, I remember SimCity when I was young, and this, and, like, because SimCity when I was young was just, like, fucking directionless. It was just sort of like, okay, houses, and a coal factory, and, I don't know, a garbage dump, and a nursery. Like, you just go. And there are goals. People come out and are like, oh, hey, do this, and you get, like, little rewards, and we'd really like this, and then, like, there's even RPG elements. I'm kind of the fervent believer that having RPG elements in any game kind of improves it to a certain extent, because it does give you this level of reward for effort put in. Whereas when you throw a game at somebody and just kind of go, okay, this is everything, go right ahead, you can tire of it quickly because you have access to the whole tool shed. But, having these, like, little rewards for playing, and not rewards in the sense where somebody just, like, gives you a gold star because it's like, congratulations, you finished level 1. It compels you to play more because you get more things to play with or more things to do. It makes it a more rewarding experience. It makes it more engaging. It makes you feel like you're having an effect on the game. Like there's an actual interface going on here. And I know that I'm only really dealing with a program, but it is providing me with things that I like to do as a reward for doing things that I like to do. That having been said, I have not yet encountered a situation in which I understand why it was designed as a multiplayer game. Like at no point in time.
Well, I'm sure when it was in development, they're like, you know what's really popular? Facebook games. Let's do that.
Yeah, but on that same note, they can go fuck themselves.
They can suck a dick.
And the reason why, the very reason why, is that multiplayer games should have or should add value. Like there should be a component to the multiplayer that completely revolutionizes the way that you play the game. You know, there are multiplayer games out there who do that. There are other multiplayer games that kind of like jump on the bandwagon of other multiplayer games that have done that. You know, but by and large, jamming multiplayer into a game, which is really just you doing civic planning and trying to convince people that, hey, this is an integral part of the game because at any point in time, you can connect yourself to a city that has nothing to do with you. You're not designing a city together. You're not like you're not even like adjusting for borders or coming into direct conflict with one another. You know, at most, you are negotiating resources. And the game seems to be set up so that areas are bereft of resources. So you're never really at a point of time where you can be like, fuck you, I don't need your coal. It's like, oh, we have no coal. I guess we have to deal with that other guy. But even then, you don't need to do that because you can build your own cities around your own cities and have them interconnect with each other. So even then, the multiplayer component to SimCity is like so belabored. It is such a stretch to try and get people to I don't even know what it is that they're trying to do. That's the stupid thing. I mean, I understand why games like Call of Duty or Battlefield have these like unlock systems based around like shooting people and whatnot, because it's all about connecting online and playing the game over and over and over and trying to squeeze as much gameplay out of these people as you can so that they get so invested into it that when the next Call of Duty comes, they just buy it and they're like in. And it's all about getting the same thing again, playing it over and 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 over again. But I don't understand what the fuck they're trying to do with SimCity. Because you don't need anybody else. Literally, you don't need anyone. But the game is engineered from, like, the bottom up to make you think that you do.
I mean, we've been over this, Johnny. They have no idea what they're doing. And even if the actual mechanics of it are good, is it worth the always online and the patches and just the general?
No, it's not worth compromising the always online. I'll be honest with you. It's not worth that. Again, I will reiterate to anybody who didn't listen to last week's podcast, I did not buy this game. A review code was given to me. Taylor, would you stop rubbing your mic up against your crotch?
I'm sorry, I was getting hot and bothered.
Save that for the after show.
Sorry guys. I got confused.
Podcast PM.
We should record a sexy version of this afterwards.
I did one thing this week. Well, two things. I played Skyrim, and then I wanted to compare Skyrim to something because I'd been sort of like loading through Skyrim like, you know, crazy. I'm trying to get stuff done, get to my DLC, and I played a lot of Skyrim this week. But I also played Fallout New Vegas again for a very specific reason. I wanted to know if I was romanticizing Fallout New Vegas because I was becoming increasingly concerned with Skyrim. It's writing, it's Radiant Quest system, it's like a lot of things. Like the last game that came out like Skyrim that I really, really liked was Fallout New Vegas. And I was kind of curious if I was romanticizing it a little bit. So I was like, fuck it, I'll reinstall it, I'll add some mods up and just, you know, see how it feels. It's really good. Like the writing is great.
To clarify, you're one of those people who thinks Fallout 3 is no good because it's not Fallout 1 and 2, right?
No, that's not true at all, actually. The reason why I didn't like Fallout 3 was because it was almost a carbon copy of 2's plot. It really is. Only the thing is that Fallout 2 is way better written because nobody remembers who wrote Fallout 3, but everybody remembers that Chris Avellone wrote Fallout 2.
I don't remember that. Am I not everybody, Johnny?
That's because, Taylor, did you ever play it?
No, but you said everybody.
Yes, I said everybody remembers, not everybody knows. There's a difference.
Look at that guy being all crafty with his words.
That's right. I speaks great.
Maybe Taylor would remember if everyone was like 10 years younger in Japanese.
All right, fine. It may be the case. So that's the only reason I didn't like Fallout 3. I was actually really intrigued with the concept of Fallout becoming first person. And, like open world and everything. And that's one of the reasons why I really like Fallout New Vegas. I was really delighted by the idea that Syndicate was going to be a first person shooter. I was just very displeased with what showed up on the other end. But yeah, like New Vegas, it's really good. Like the writing, the setup, the fact that like you're dealing with these intractable organizations of which, you might think certain things about. Having played Fallout 2, I think I know certain things about the NCR, but that's not necessarily the case. And then you have this whole introduction of like Caesar's Legion as well. And just like I like the thing is I really want Bethesda's internal development studio to hire some writers. Not guys who want to design video games and are maybe writers. I mean writers. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I had somebody to talk with a little bit more depth here about New Vegas, but I'll pass the conch shell.
We're running a bit late anyway. We're up 2.5 hours by my count, so I'm not going to be able to even get into anything I've been playing. So, do Gabe or Taylor want to take it? You guys playing anything you want to talk about right quick?
Just a lot of 3DS. Just beat Super Mario 3D Land, playing Mario Kart, waiting for the Donkey Kongs. And that's about it.
Nintendo's always tearing it up first party, despite some interesting decisions lately. I don't know if we want to go into that YouTube thing. We already had a video feature on the site, but that's a thing that's happening.
That is
Gabe,
true.
What are you playing, Gabe?
3DS. Let's see. Played some Harvest Moon, and it was the Game Boy Color one. Like that game is insidious. Like you think you won't care about just it, using a hoe to manually till a farm. It's like, no, I love the hell out of this.
I love all my hoes.
I knew he was gonna say that. That was a perfect setup.
It's like I'm like I'll just play for a little bit. It's like 4 hours later. It's like, oh crap, it's summer now. All my crops are dead. But like, let's see, played Little Super Mario Land 2, Starship Damre, which that wasn't the best entry to Guild 2. But also I did play the new Fire Emblem DLC, and as someone who didn't really care for Morgan, I love that DLC so much.
It's hard to talk about without spoilers. I will just say this is a new feature on the podcast. Who did you marry?
Well, actually, I played a female avatar, so I married Crom for the drama.
I did too with my female avatar. I think that I'd like to see the stat breakdown. I bet like 90% of female avatars married Crom. He's dreamy, for the record.
I won't tell you who I married Cordelia to, though.
And all the way, man.
All right, Austin, it looks like you do have a chance to talk about what you've been playing.
Do I? I don't know. This is going to be such a bitch to edit. I'm near the end of Disgaea 2. I feel like it's wrapping up, so that's going to finish. I'm doing Resident Evil Revelations for review. That'll be up in a day or two.
What are you playing that on?
PS3.
Oh, okay.
What do you think so far? Give us a little preview of your review.
It's okay.
Better on 3DS?
Well done.
I guess that's the big question.
I didn't actually play it on 3DS yet, so hopefully I'm going to get some time. I have a copy somewhere here. I just haven't gotten around to it, so I'll compare them and contrast, hopefully. So, there's something else. Oh, I started Phoenix Wright 3, or Ace Attorney 3, I guess. I mean, they're all, good. The localization is a little bit wonky. Maybe I'll talk about that more next week. I haven't finished it. And there's another game. If you have time, I have some depth to go into. You want to save it for next week?
It's up to you.
I've lost the ability to care about anything. Someone else needs to make this decision.
Okay, well, are you done it this week? Have you finished it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about it now while the thoughts are fresh.
Okay, so, Gabe, tell me if this sounds familiar.
Okay.
There's a spaceship. It's abandoned. It's kind of spooky. You are a person there, and you have to figure out what happened. And there's a creepy girl. Is any of this ringing any bells?
Oh, you didn't play Starship Damre 2, did you?
No, I didn't. But that's funny as you just did, and they have the exact same setup. I played a game which flows neatly from last week. You guys remember I talked about Christine Love?
Yep.
and her visual novels, I finally played the retail release of Analog: A Hate Story, which is, that's the setup. You are a character who finds a derelict spaceship, and you are the sole person there to try to figure out what happened. And, you know, it's creepy, and that's kind of something I undersold about digital love story, and don't take it personally, which is they're about technology, they're about love, but they're also kind of creepy and weird a little bit. It's kind of like a really like underplayed element of those games, but that's this game. This game is almost horror. It's not. I mean, it's all text. It's all text and cute anime girls, but it's pretty fucking creepy sometimes. It's almost impossible to talk about the plot without giving anything away. All I can say is that when you show up on the ship, you have to read through all the logs, like all the things that the people who lived there had written, because everyone's dead, and all you can really communicate with is the ship's AI, which are anthropomorphic little, you know, versions. They're basically cute anime girls for reasons which completely and totally escape me. That's just something the writer is really into. There's a lot going on here, guys, in regards to themes and, like, you know, it's so hard not to give things away. I talked about how last time how Don't Take It Personally is really about technology and relationships, and specifically LGBTQ stuff. Basically, the writer is a gay woman. She wanted to explore, you know, gay and lesbian relationships in ways that aren't often seen in video games. Hate Story is about basically the disenfranchisement of women. It's not. There is some like homosexual content, I will say. It's not sexy. It's not erotic. This is not something that you're like, yeah, it's naughty time. Let's load this up, because you will throw up in your mouth. But there's some of that, but it's mostly just about men being fucking terrible. I have never hated people who I have not seen so much, because once again, all you're doing is reading. But she has such a knack for creating loathsome human beings. And that's in the name. It's a hate story, and you will fucking hate some people in this game by the time you're done. And if I'm going to give it anything, I will say that it does that well. It evokes the emotions it sets out to do. And I have played so many games in my life that evoke nothing. That's right there. It's already worth playing in my book. But I mean, if you don't want to read for 5 hours, you're not going to be into this game.
Where can you pick this game up? On our website?
It's $10 on Steam. It's the only visual novel on Steam.
Well, son of a bitch, I'm going in.
I would be interested to hear your thoughts, because, as I said, the way it's told is you are given information in a non-chronological fashion, so things slowly open up. Like, the beginning of the game, you're just looking through personal logs, and it's all like interpersonal drama. It's all like, oh, you know, this one family is trying to get their son elected, you know, to some kind of position, and the emperor is like trying to curry favor with this other clan, and it's like none of this stuff sounds super interesting. But as you get deeper into it, like things become clear, and it's not even like the reveals are super good. Like you kind of see things coming, but it's like the moments between of like you figuring out what's going on and then reading it. It's like it's really effective, because you're like, oh god, oh my god, I know what's happening. Oh god, here it comes. Oh god, and then it happens. It doesn't happen. You read it, and then you're just like, I fucking knew it. That is so wrong. And you just kind of got to experience it, I guess. So I enjoyed it. I didn't obviously. I wouldn't say I had as much fun as I did with the other games, because this one it's very dry. It's very clinical. Where like digital was like kind of fun in a dumb way, where it was just like, you know, you have to listen to that internet sound, you know, the dialing sound.
Yeah.
From pre-internet days, you had to listen to that every 5 minutes. It's like, oh god, this is so silly.
I used to have to listen to that every 5 minutes.
But this one is just like, there's no one, everyone's dead, and everyone is terrible, and it's like it was kind of like emotionally draining. Like after I played it, I just kind of like collapsed and like laid in a pile for like a couple hours. It's just like, I don't want to do anything or think anything. And if you don't want those kind of emotions, I would stay far away. But if you're open to feeling something a little different from your video games, I would recommend it. She is right now working on DLC for it, which is interesting. I've never heard of DLC for a visual novel before. So I'm interested to see how that turns out, because there's ambiguity both before and after the events of the plot. And I'm interested to see how she fleshes that out. especially considering the multiple endings. And the way that the multiple endings are handled is interesting because there's a thing that happens like halfway through, and it's like a branching point, and after like it completely axes like half of your choices. Like it's a really big like point of no return, and you basically have to start from there. It's not like where you can just load and make a different choice, like and just keep your finger in the page. Like that's the point where you pick a side, and it's pretty serious. It's such a cool little sequence too, because I was telling you about digital, where it gives you kind of a computer interface to work with, and there are sequences in this game where basically you have to manipulate the main computer of the ship using like command line prompts. So if you're not comfortable with that, it's not like super complicated. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt that they can figure out some of this stuff, but I can easily see it overwhelm people who aren't, expecting it.
I think I'm going to give it a try.
It's an interesting, because like I don't want to give too much away, but there's a part where you need to quickly basically give a bunch of rudimentary computer commands to a system, and it's like you have to type parameters and stuff. It's not like programming or hacking. Like I don't want to oversell it, but it's definitely not something I've ever seen in a video game before to ask that much of you.
All right, I'm in.
I think everyone who is not opposed to being kind of devastated in your soul should play it.
No, seriously, I just bought it.
I did too. I was like, I could just ask her for a copy. I'm sure she would, 'cause indie devs are super cool. But I was like, I just want to give her $10.
No, seriously, I just bought it like right now.
Nice. Internet 5. You should play it, even if we don't talk about it on the podcast because of ruinous spoilers. I still want to hear your thoughts on it, because I worry that it comes off a little too heavy-handed. Like there's certain things, like we joke about like slavery and genocide and terrible like murder and stuff on here, but at what point are you pointing out the obvious? You know what I'm saying? Like the Holocaust is bad. Like yes, it is. Like is that a theme for our work?
No, we are pretty heavy-handed here. That much is okay. As far as I'm concerned, I don't necessarily see it as being the role of a video game podcast to have high-handed social commentary and satire.
Well, okay, here's the thing, though. Okay, like there's a great works of literature and art in this. They're like anti-war and anti-sexism, anti-racism. Is that? I mean, it is moral high ground, but is it commendable to take such obvious and like irrefutable positions?
I think that's a question of circumstance, to be honest with you. I think for it truly to be commendable for a work of art or a work of literature or what have you, a political discourse, even like a social essay or something, for it to truly be commendable to take a stance, it needs to be courageous. It needs to be an underdog. It needs to be unpopular. There comes a certain tipping point, I think, where standing up for someone's rights is, I don't want to use the word bandwagoning, but, you're only okay with it after everybody else has said that it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's going to play this game and be like, you know what? I guess I'm going to change my thoughts. I thought the disenfranchisement of women was okay, but I guess it's not. Like, it's not, like, about, it's more about, like, the journey than the destination, I guess.
And, I mean, when we're talking about gender issues particularly, we still have to admit that there's a certain, I don't want to use the word because it almost feels like I'm complimenting them. There's a certain subtlety to some branches of misogyny.
Yeah. I can see what you're saying. It's not a thing that's like unilaterally over. It's not like if you make a story about slavery in America, people are going to be like, well, that's kind of over.
Yeah.
So when you talk about misogyny in culture, it's like there's still some of that. But I worry that someone's going to play this game and be like, yeah, duh, like obviously, like. But it's not, to me. It wasn't about that so much. I mean, it was interesting content, but it was seeing the way she wrote it, the way she created characters and revealed them, not non-linearly. So you got this kind of kaleidoscope picture of a situation, and just watching it inevitably come to a head and just fucking derail.
Yeah, well, you know what they say. There's only really 3 types of stories. Character.
What were those?
Character versus character, character versus environment, and character versus themselves.
I've heard a variant of that. There was like 5 or 7 or something.
Oh.
There was like man versus machine, man versus man, man versus nature, something else. I don't remember. But yeah, I know what you're saying though. There's only so many templates you can work with.
Yeah.
Essentially. But what is cool, and I keep saying this about visual novels, is that they force you to kind of engage with video games in a way that you're not used to. It's like I've shot so many dudes. I've shot a lot of dudes. So just listening to people talk and reading for a couple hours is kind of soothing before I get back to shooting the dudes. You guys want to shoot some dudes? You guys ever get tired of shooting dudes?
No, I do get very tired of shooting dudes. That having been said, sometimes I do want to sit down and shoot some dudes.
No, it's good. I want to shoot some dudes sometimes too. Sometimes I just don't want to shoot dudes.
Dudes.
Gabe?
Sometimes they're not for shooting.
Oh, jeez. This has been a weird podcast. You missed the good stuff at the beginning, Taylor. Taylor's mic is broken.
Maybe he's having a seizure or something.
I hope so.
Are you okay? Do you need help? Because if you do, I am in Canada and cannot provide it for you.
Okay, we'll just assume Taylor's dead. Johnny, do you want to wrap it up with a version of your intro which is more out in its tro?
After this podcast, I don't know how we could possibly crush hopes or innocence any more than we already have.
Everything is just flattened.
Your whole life, listener, will be nothing but a grim disappointment. I defy you to prove me wrong. But do your best to stay alive during the whole thing.
Life?
Yeah.
Technically, you can't fail at that because as soon as you stop being alive, you're not in the life anymore, so you didn't fail to be alive.
I am not condoning suicide.
That's the fucking note we're gonna end on. We are terrible people, and this is not something I am proud of.